All right, and we are back here on the GSMC football podcast. And for the second part of the show, we're going to take a look at the updated MVP odds, and I'll give you my thoughts on those. So obviously, I go to a Vegas Insider, and I just kind of look at what they have for the different betting websites. So right now, take a look at it. So this is the current. This is what it is currently. Now, as you can see, Brock Purdy still has no picture. Disrespectful to Brock Purdy. But, so right now he's the favorite, across the board pretty much. Then you got Lamar Jackson, who's kind of made himself part of the conversation. Josh Allen now. And you look at Dak Prescott. I mean, he kind of plummeted because of how bad they played on Sunday against the Bills. And you got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, McCaffrey should have higher odds, but you also had, I think it was J.J. Watt. He said that this is a quarterback award. Somebody said it was just this is a quarterback award. Oh, wait, yeah, actually it was J.J. Watt because they were talking to him. I forget. It wasn't the McAfee show. It was either the McAfee show or it was just some other podcast. But they were talking to him about the fact that he should have won the MVP in 2014, and he had, I think they said 5 total touchdowns. Yeah, because I remember he would be out there on offense for a few plays when Fitzpatrick was the quarterback. He had 20 and a half sacks. He had a fumble recovery. I mean he was unbelievable that year. But Aaron Rodgers ended up winning that MVP, the MVP that year, and he said it's a quarterback award. But I think and this is something that people talk about is you have to maybe make separate awards, just so it's not always a QB. Because this would be the year, and I've said this for multiple weeks now, this would be the year that a non-quarterback should win MVP. And it's unfortunate that Tyreek Hill got hurt because he should have been higher. I mean, even before he got hurt, he wasn't really up on one of the top people up here. It's all quarterbacks. But Christian McCaffrey, I mean, the guy scores a touchdown pretty much every week, and McCaffrey saying Brock Purdy should win MVP, and Brock Purdy saying McCaffrey should win MVP. I mean, I think this is the year you do it. That you give it to a non-quarterback. I mean, it's not that quarterbacks are having bad seasons. I mean, Brock Purdy is having a good season, but you look at, I mean, he does lead the league in passer rating. I mean, now I'm just looking at the current stats. 29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. I mean, he's having a really good season. But, you look at McCaffrey's numbers on the season, if we can pull those up. Pulling them up right now. So McCaffrey has almost 1,300 yards rushing, 13 rushing touchdowns. Then you go to the receiving side of things. He has 509 yards receiving. And he has 7 receiving touchdowns. So he's got 20 total touchdowns on the season. I mean, I feel like this is the year you give it to a non-quarterback. Lamar Jackson, he's kind of entered the MVP conversation a little bit. I mean, listen, the Ravens right now are the top team record-wise in the AFC at 11-3. And part of the reason for that is Lamar Jackson. And, obviously people talk about the definition of most valuable player. Well, look at what the Ravens have done the last couple of seasons. Lamar Jackson gets hurt, and then their season is pretty much over. I mean, they did make the playoffs last year, but they had to start Tyler Huntley. And they actually almost won that game against the Bengals. If it was not for, Huntley fumbling it at the goal line, getting knocked out, and then Sam Hubbard running it all the way back for a touchdown. I mean, that's the difference in the game. And then the year before that, Lamar got hurt. So, Lamar Jackson is very valuable to the Ravens because without him, they're not really going anywhere. I was surprised with how Josh Allen's kind of jumped up a little bit here. I mean, last week he really didn't do much against the Cowboys. That he basically just handed it off to James Cook and let him do the rest. But I mean, right now, I guess it's Brock Purdy is the favorite. Yeah, Dak Prescott, horrible game against the Bills. Now again, there's still time. It's going to change from week to week. But I mean, I guess you look at Purdy as the favorite. I mean, McCaffrey should be up there. I mean, his odds should be better. As opposed to what they are right now. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. But I mean, I think he should be higher than some of these quarterbacks. But yeah, so you got McCaffrey, and then after McCaffrey, they're cut off. I can't fit the whole thing on the screen, but then you got Tua, Mahomes, Tyreek Hill. I mean, Jalen Hurts, he plummeted too. Trevor Lawrence. On Bet365, they actually have Baker Mayfield for plus 20,000 to win MVP. He's got the same odds as Micah Parsons on there too, and Matthew Stafford and Stroud. I feel like, and they actually have odds for Joe Flacco winning MVP too. What? I mean, why? He's played 3 games. Yeah, they got him at plus 50,000. Well, maybe if he wins this, shouldn't say maybe if he wins the Super Bowl because you already decide that. You already decide who wins MVP by then. But yeah, it's not happening. I feel like Stroud should have been a little bit higher too. I mean, 20,000. I mean, I guess now because he got hurt. But I mean, he was up there at one point. But yeah, I mean, I guess because now him getting hurt. But yeah, Hurts kind of plummeted a little bit. Tyreek Hill getting hurt. I mean, that's the other thing too is injuries. Injuries. It's ruined this season in a lot of ways. With the amount of quarterbacks that have gotten hurt. That's the other thing, too. It's just quarterbacks getting hurt. Because, I mean, you would have had Kirk Cousins up here, if he didn't get hurt, because he was playing at an MVP level. But, I mean, I'm not really going to complain. I mean, it's not like Purdy or Lamar don't deserve it. I don't. Josh Allen, I don't see it. But I mean, and Dak Prescott, you just have one bad game, and that's kind of the difference. But I'm still on that train of listen, if it shouldn't be a quarterback this year, but it is what it is, and whoever ends up winning it, I mean, it's going to be somebody most likely from the 49ers, I think, barring anything crazy that happens over these final 3 weeks. But, it's just Brock Purdy's playing for the best team right now. McCaffrey, again, scoring a touchdown every single week, pretty much. I mean, it's going to be one of those two. Again, Dak still has a chance in these final 3 games. You got the Commanders one more time. I mean, let's see what happens against the Dolphins this week. That's a big game. And it's funny because people are talking about the Cowboys not being able to win on the road, and you got the Dolphins, so they haven't beaten a good team. This game could definitely silence the critics for at least one of these teams, unless they tie. So we'll see. I mean, the Cowboys are coming off a horrible loss. And, we'll see what happens with Tyreek Hill if he plays. I mean, I'm really hoping he does. But, yeah, it's going to be... It's the best game of the... at least for Sunday. Because then you got the Niners and the Ravens playing the following day. Again, anything could happen in these last 3 weeks. But I would say right now, my pick for MVP would be Christian McCaffrey. Now, if Tyreek Hill comes back and he has like a 300-yard game against the Cowboys, well, then that's going to change. But it's probably going to be McCaffrey. It's McCaffrey. It would be my pick. You got Purdy up there. I would probably, honestly, I'd probably put Dak over Lamar right now. Just because of how he was playing before this game against the Bills. Then I'd probably put Lamar. Then maybe. Well, if Tyreek Hill didn't miss last week, I mean, he'd be in my top 3. But now he missed time. Actually, let's take a look at Josh Allen's stats on the season, because I'm just curious. Because I don't know what his – I don't know. I honestly don't know what his stats are off the top of my head. But, yeah, he's got almost 3,500 yards passing, so he's going to get to 4,000 yards. But, yeah, 26 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. The 14 interceptions kind of hurts his MVP consideration for me. So I wouldn't put him, in my top 3. But listen, the Bills have been playing better as of late. And again, if he, has a monster final 3 games, then you never know. But I think right now, what's up here is, pretty much what you're going to get. I mean, Brock Purdy at this moment, it's either going to be him or it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be McCaffrey. But we'll see. I don't know. It'll be interesting, but it'll kind of be a bummer if it's a quarterback, just because, again, you kind of feel like it should be, somebody else for this year, but who knows? Again, these final 3 weeks, things can change. So, actually, we'll go back to this not back to this, but that's pretty much it, though, talking about this topic here. But before we go into our next break, again, I just want to remind you guys to tip or donate and get your comments recognized. Make sure to go to the following link. That is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. Again, that really helps the show, makes the show more interactive between myself, the host, and you guys, the viewers. Again, that is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. And again, it's always displayed on the ticker on the bottom of the show segment down below. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, though, about the MVP. Who do you think should win it? Again, I mean, I think a lot of people, even looking at social media, I mean, you could see that most people would say that it should be given to a non-quarterback this year. But it doesn't look like that. At this moment, it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. I mean, I don't know what Christian McCaffrey else he has to do, unless he's got to throw some passes. I mean, he did that in the NFC Championship game last year. And again, it's unfortunate Tyreek got hurt last week. 2 weeks ago, I guess now, if you want to consider it, because we're on our way to week 16. Because, yeah, I mean, he was on his way to getting 2,000 yards, and, this might have hurt his chances, him getting hurt. So, but, yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Should it be a quarterback? Should it be McCaffrey? Let me know in the comments. But, yeah, so when we come back from our second break of the show, we're going to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and what's going on there. Is there changes on the way? We'll get into that when we come back from our second break of the show. So, with that being said, stick around, and we'll be right back here on the GSMC Football Podcast.